You can learn Michael Jackson's moves, but you'll never learn to be Michael Jackson. This phrase is often repeated among professional dancers, but it's not just fan exaggeration. It's a truth acknowledged by people who worked closely with him. The point isn't that his moves were impossible, but that what happened on stage wasn't just movements, but a presence that defies explanation. The text I've attached clearly illustrates this idea. Thousands of people can imitate his moves, but the presence is the element that cannot be replicated. Imagine you're inside a stadium that holds 70,000 people. The lights go out. There's no music, no singing, and nothing happens. Just one man stands in the middle of the stage, silent, still, looking at the audience. And suddenly, thousands of people start screaming. Then tens of thousands. Then the whole place erupts in a wave of mass hysteria. This isn't a scene from a movie. It was a recurring theme in Michael Jackson's concerts. On the Dangerous World Tour and the History Tour, cameras captured scenes of audiences weeping or fainting the moment he appeared, even before he performed his first dance move or sang his first words. The logical question is, how can a person create such an effect simply by standing up? The answer lies in something social psychologists call charismatic presence. It's a complex blend of confidence, control, mystery, rhythm, and the ability to command attention effortlessly. And Michael possessed these elements to a rare degree. The stage was his kingdom. When you watch a recording of any Michael Jackson concert, you'll notice something peculiar. He doesn't move constantly. On the contrary, he knew when to move and when to stop. For him, stopping was an art form. He understood that silence could be more powerful than music, and that stillness could be more exciting than dancing. That's why he kept the audience waiting. Then, at the perfect moment, he makes just one move, and the stands erupt in screams. This ability to control the audience's emotional rhythm was one of the most important secrets to his success. He wasn't just performing. He was leading the audience's emotions moment by moment. Gene Kelly saw something no one else did. One of the people who best understood Michael's talent was Hollywood dance legend Gene Kelly. Kelly didn't praise the number of steps, nor did he say that the moonwalk was the greatest move in history. But he focused on a completely different point. He said that Michael was clean, elegant, and fast, but most importantly, it was the style. He added that Michael had an innate acting intelligence and a sense of humor that shone through even while dancing. This is something many imitators don't understand. Dancing isn't just a series of movements. It's the way those movements are performed. Two people can do the same step, but one looks ordinary. The other looks legendary. The difference is the personality, the hand that no one can imitate. It might sound strange, but many dancers say that the hardest thing about imitating Michael isn't his feet. It's his hands, the finger movement, the wrist angle, the way he opens his palm, even the moment he catches the air. It was all meticulously calculated. That's why some of the dancers who worked with him said that anyone can learn the steps, but it's virtually impossible to make his hands look like Michael's while performing. This attention to detail is what made even his simplest movements stand out. Why were crowds swooning? You may have seen these clips. People crying, others fainting, some collapsing at the mere sight of him. Many considered it an exaggeration, but psychologists have a different explanation. When tens of thousands gather in one place and their emotions are directed toward one person, a phenomenon called mass emotional contagion occurs. Every scream amplifies the screams of others. Every tear encourages another to cry. But this phenomenon requires an exceptional trigger. And that trigger was Michael. He meticulously crafted his public image. He rarely appeared in public. He gave few interviews. He was enigmatic. And when he did appear, the public felt the moment was historic. That's why the reactions sometimes defied logic. Mystery, part of the legend. In our time, artists share every detail of their lives on social media. But Michael did the exact opposite. He disappeared. He didn't give many interviews. He only spoke when he wanted to. And when he was once asked why he gave so few interviews, his answer was very simple. It's not for me. This mystique wasn't a communication weakness. It was part of his public persona, part of the charisma that made his presence more valuable the less he appeared. Every appearance was a global event, not just a TV interview, not just a singer. Many forget that Michael was also an actor. Every song he performed felt like a short film. Look at Billie Jean. You'll see a man haunted by doubt. In Smooth Criminal, he becomes a stylish gang leader. In Dirty Diana, he transforms into a rock star. In Earth Song, he seems to be leading a human cry. In They Don't Care About Us, he sings as if he is addressing the whole world. He would change his facial expressions, his tone of voice, and even his posture depending on the story. That's why the audience wasn't watching a concert. They were watching a live theatrical performance. The artists themselves were imitating him. Remarkably, the biggest stars in the world didn't hide his influence on them. Usher spoke repeatedly about studying Michael's performances since childhood. Justin Timberlake admitted that much of his early work was inspired by Michael's style. Beyoncé said on more than one occasion that watching his concerts was a complete school for her. And Chris Brown made Michael's influence evident in his dance, his fashion, and even some of his stage presence. But despite all that, none of them said they had become the new Michael. They understood that there were limits they couldn't cross. The real secret. People thought Michael's secret was his dancing. Then they thought it was his voice. Then they said it was his videos. Then his clothes. But the truth is, all of these elements were just tools. But the real secret was in his personality, in his discipline, and his obsession with perfection. An obsession the public never saw. The public only saw the final performance. But behind the scenes, there was a completely different story. The story of a man who would rehearse a single movement dozens of times, and correct the smallest details, and refuse to leave the rehearsal until every second was perfect. And there, away from the spotlight,